As part of Mental Health Week in 2020, the Fellowship of Australian Writers Queensland sat down with people from different backgrounds to discuss how the creative art of writing can help build resilience in their life. Riley Webb, Year 11 student at Earnshaw State College and developer of the prize-winning app Silent Secrets, explains how the app works.
So basically, it's just a general journaling app. So it's got a public and private space currently, where you can choose to share. You can type out what you're feeling. It starts in a add post screen, so it's just an instant way of, you don't have to open it and fluff around or go looking for something. You can just start typing. It's just something. Say you're annoyed at something or you've got a spare minute, you can just go write what you're feeling, and it's a really good way because you don't have to. I got some really good feedback from my mentor through the Young Change Agents program, which was my original design of having to go through multiple menus to get to the main focus of the app was going to push people away from using it.
So that was part of your award, that you were able to work with a mentor.
Yeah.
And what has that meant in terms of developing the app further?
Well, he's given me some great feedback in user design. He's an expert in user design. His name's Oliver Weidlich, and he runs a mobile experience company down in New South Wales, and he's worked with companies like Suncorp, Combank, Optus, Apple, designing apps just on the user experience base. No coding necessary, he just does the user experience. And he told me to build a profile of who I was aiming at, and told me that having to go through multiple menus is going to push people away, because these days people have such a short attention span. If you have to go through 3 different menus to get to the main function of the app, you're not going to get anywhere.
So that profile of who you're aiming at, do you just want to explain who that is?
I was looking at kind of the millennial Gen Z demographic at first, because there's been a major problem with people born in the 90s and later, where the stigma, you got rid of the stigma of men can't talk, but it's come back. And it's not just men now, it's our generation. We feel like we can't talk to anyone. We're behind a screen most of the time, that's how we communicate. And people just portray a perfect lifestyle. And the app came to be because I noticed that people were struggling.
Struggling with that ability to be able to express themselves?
Yeah, and talk about their problems and have people to rely on. It's such a fast-paced lifestyle. People think they can rely on people, and then when you actually need it, they're not there, they're too busy. And people just think, why would I talk to anyone? No one's there to listen.
So the app you designed as a way of a person being able to express what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and in some way connecting with themselves?
Yeah, and it also has that kind of community aspect where people can leave signs of support to show they understand, or offer to help, or message them and give them something, say something nice just to help them through what they're going through. So it's just that community aspect to try and give that feel like, yes, there are people there for you. You're not alone.
So there is a way of connecting to other people through the app?
Yeah.
Do you just want to describe how that works? So
we've got the commenting section, which I call messages of support, which is designed in thinking of my generation, where there's been a lot of controversy around cyberbullying and the way social media is used. I've made it so when people leave a comment, they can't go back and delete it. It's there forever.
So they have to own and take responsibility for what they say.
Yeah, they can't just go back and delete it when they get called out for it. It's there. And you're not just going on the word of someone, you can actually see it. It's in the database.
So it gives a real sense of responsibility as well as connection. So
yeah.
There's that sense in which what your app does is much more than some of the other social media sites, where people can be quite flippant in their comments.
Yeah, for example, there's an app that I actually used to use where I got bullied on call. It's now gone. It got removed from the App Store and Google Play Store. It was called, I believe it was pronounced Saraha. It was an Arabic app where the main aim was for people to leave compliments anonymously. It ended up getting used to bully and defame people anonymously because you couldn't get tracked. and it became a place where people were bullied and horrific things were said about people, and they couldn't track it back to anyone because it was just left.
So the comments that anybody makes on the app that you've designed actually have their name?
It has their name. So you can't go through the app without creating a profile, and it's optional to add a profile picture, but you have to have a name, you have to have a valid email address, and you have to have a phone number attached to your account, just so that if someone does report an act of abuse or not using the app properly, we can hand those details over to the authorities. It's just an easier way to understand and keep control of it.
So there is a connection then with a level of health professionals or
yes.
or others, or it can be developed.
It can be developed to add connection for health professionals. In fact, one of my goals is to see it used in the mental health space, because mental health professionals don't understand what their clients are going through on a day-to-day basis. They get told once or twice a month maybe what we're going through on a day-to-day basis, and they don't see it for themselves. So it could be, instead of going home and writing in a paper journal and forgetting, write down on the app, post a couple times a day when you have 1 or 2 minutes, and a health professional can go through and look and see what they're typing and see what they're looking at. It's just an easier way to keep track, and that way you can actually believe what they tell you in the end.
There's a great deal of confidence and trust that needs to be developed in using this app. A lot of people talk about journaling with that, and that's often the first step in the healing process.
Yes,
isn't it?
It is. It really is. I know that for myself. Journaling does help. Writing it down does help. And I understand that a lot of apps, especially social media and online apps, don't have a lot of security or confidence. People don't have confidence in posting or talking about what they're feeling because there's no privacy. It's all data that can be sold to advertising companies. And what's scary is nowadays, if you go through your Facebook feed and you've been talking to someone about, let's say, mental health, and this happened to me actually, I was talking to my dad about mental health, and 20 minutes later I went through my Facebook feed and there was an ad for a mental health service. Yet they don't say that they're recording you or listening to you, but I had never mentioned mental health on Facebook before, and I talk about it with someone in a conversation, and 20 minutes later it's in my feed advertising a mental health service.
So there was a real sense of intrusion there, of
Yeah.
invasion of your privacy.
Yes, and the goal for Silent Secrets is, yes, there's going to be advertising, but that's just to keep the app up and running. And it's not going to be listening to you or watching you. It's using a Google Ads service, which only uses location. It only uses a country to advertise relevant products, and it's a very watered down version of the Google advertising service.
Yeah. The access to the app makes it a lot easier than walking around with a paper and pen, doesn't it? That was part of your purpose.
That was part of the purpose of the app, because I noticed people don't have time to write in a book anymore. Like, you watch people who are on their lunch breaks. People don't take lunch breaks anymore. They're given it, but they don't take them. They've got too much work to do. If they can take 5 minutes when they're making a coffee at 11 in the morning on their lunch break to write something on their phone, it'll just be like using another social media app. Instead of scrolling through Facebook, they come and write something in the app.
So it'll give them that opportunity to have a little bit of mindfulness, a stepping back, even in the moment, which is what that whole concept means.
It's just to let people have that release during the day, because you see it nowadays. People come home stressed and struggle to sleep and worry about work because they can't let anything out. They're so stressed. It's just constant pile on, and you can't get out of it. It's a full loop circle.
Yeah. So it's a way of letting go.
Yeah.
That's what. And journaling, you've looked at some of the statistics in terms of the way in which not only journaling, but that ability to be able to release your feelings can assist you in mental health.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just directly journaling. It was just directly seeking help. The statistic in Australia for suicide rate is the 28% of all deaths are suicide related, which means they're mental health related, which means at least 28% of people feel like they can't get help.
And they've lost hope.
Yeah. And the aim of the app is to not just give that hope back, but give easy access to services. So there's a built-in button in the app which links directly to a website, which escapes my memory at the moment, but it's got a list of all these mental health services in every single country and every continent on the face of the planet, which gives you hotlines and emergency numbers and everything else, so that if you feel like you're struggling at that point in time, it's 3 clicks to get to where you need to get help.
So there is an international aspect to this app as well.
Yeah.
It can be not just Australian based or not even local Queensland based.
No, it can be used internationally. Yes. It's using a global server. It's not geolocation limited. It's all there.
But here in Australia, we also have organisations like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, Headspace,
Yeah.
all of these. Is it possible that you could perhaps have links to those as well?
Well, actually, the website that I linked to through my app has direct numbers to Lifeline. And if you call Lifeline is the big one in Australia. If you call Lifeline saying you need help, they'll direct you. They'll put you through to Headspace or Beyond Blue or something. They'll recommend you go there. So Lifeline being the major contact is really a good idea, because Lifeline know everything. You call them and say, I'm 13, I'm really struggling, I need help with my mental health. They'll say, okay, well, Headspace is the place for you. Here's their phone number. Here's what suburb are you in first? Here's the local phone number. Give them a call tomorrow and they'll help you.
And the app that you've developed enables ease of access to that link, that contact, doesn't it?
It's there's a button on almost every page in the app, which looks like a little band-aid, and you click on it and it links to the website, and you click on your country, and then it's got all the emergency and mental health phone numbers there for you.
So it's that ability to be able to reach out and connect that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the most valuable aspects of this particular app.
Yeah.
There's what you started with was the idea of journaling and sharing your silent secrets, as you call it. But there's also that sense of connecting. So do you want to just talk about it for a little bit, about that whole idea of building connections in community? The idea that the process of writing your thoughts itself enables you to share with others and help them as well.
Well, I've found myself actually that people telling you what they're going through helps you on a level where where they understand you and you understand them. So if someone comes to you and say, "Hey, look, I'm really struggling. Can you listen and help me? I need your advice." And you sit there and listen. It gives you that level of connection you don't normally have in this day and age, where someone trusts you with that. And sometimes you can just relate to it. You can go, "Yeah, I've been through that. It's really, really tough. Here's what helped me." And having that sense of community around you when you're writing your thoughts and your feelings offers the option for support around that idea, and saying, "Yeah, I've been there. Here's what helps me." It gives you that option of people can let you know what helped them through a similar time or something they were struggling with.
It's building empathy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And empathy is a kindness as well as an understanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
empathy just isn't about understanding. It's about trying to help and be there. And I think my generation especially has lost that. They listen and then they say, I can't help you. I don't know what to say. When really they do. They just don't know whether the person wants to hear it.
So what you're hoping is that your generation in particular will be the ones who will build that confidence to reach out and have empathy with each other.
And especially in times like these where people are isolated from their loved ones and their friends, and people are so used to connecting through a phone, but now that you can't see them, especially in Victoria or in the US where you haven't been at school for 5 or 6 months. You can't see you haven't seen your friends for 5 or 6 months. Like, I can't imagine how tough that was. Like, we all rely on mobile phones, but seeing them every once in a while is the way that we check up on them, because you can't tell what a person's going through or how they're feeling through a mobile phone.
So there's an important aspect here that you've just mentioned, is that physical connection with people. The app that you've developed doesn't replace that, it supports that.
It supports it. So sometimes I know through friends of mine, they don't like talking about it through in person. It's difficult. They find it confronting and they stutter and they can't put it into words. Typing it out sometimes, or writing, like for the older generation, writing was easier. For us, it's typing. And you type it out and yeah, it makes sense to you, and then you can send it to someone and you're like, yes, I understand this. This is easier for me to put down rather than putting it into words on the spot in a conversation. It gives you time to think.
And then when you do meet up, there's that connection already,
yeah,
and an understanding that you can build on.
Yeah, and you can talk to them about it and ask them the question and bring up what they've said, and that way they've had time to think about what they've put on the app, and then register it in their mind, accept it, and talk about it. Makes it easier.
Excellent. So Riley, what are your plans for the app? You're still working on developing it, or is it available now?
So it is available now, but I'm still working on the development. I'm still adding features slowly but surely. It's coming along. I'm thinking of adding a kind of friends feed, so kind of like Instagram and Facebook where you follow people, but the aim of my version is you won't know who's following you. You won't know what friend is following you, but you'll be able to only share to them, and it'll show you. You won't be able to see the count of how many people. So it won't be follower based. It will be when you go to share it, it comes up with the people who are in your friends list who you can choose to share with, but they won't know that you've only chosen to share with them.
Right, so in other words, you are in control when you've downloaded the app onto your device.
Yes.
You choose who it is that you share what you say.
Yeah.
So that's what you're developing at the moment.
And then you have, currently you have the public and the private aspect where it's just for you, or it's for the entirety of the app. I'm also in the process of developing an iPhone version, which is a tedious process, learning a whole new coding language for it and trying to build in all the features. At
the moment it's just available on Android?
Yeah, at the moment I've been developing Android apps since I was 9, so I knew the coding language quite well. iPhone, on the other hand, is a much more expensive process, and I think it's something like $150 a year for a membership, and then to keep it up there. So it's a difficult process. So
part of the award from the Young Change Agents did involve some support in that? So it involved, or just the mentor? It involved the mentor who can help, who is offering to connect me through other avenues, through his friends who are in the coding business, who will offer a hand, and connecting me with some other mental health organisations and helping me through that. So it is building my circle. Definitely something for the future. Yeah. So it's certainly something that your generation, and indeed any generation, will get benefit from. Yeah, it's definitely made not just to target my generation. They're the main people, but anyone can use it. It's made to be a very simple, very easy app to use. You pick it up as soon as you know it. As soon as you install it, it's quite easy. Riley Webb, thank you very much for the app, and thank you very much for talking to us today. It's okay, Jim. Thanks for having me. Thank you.